So this year, the 8th PAC conference on illicit financial flow, the Kenya event, which is being hosted between 9 to 10 November, with the theme, Kenya Beyond COVID-19, leveraging the opportunity for growth in the extractive sector to reduce IFF and increase domestic revenue mobilization. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic this year, the 2020 PAC edition is being held for a week long and as a hybrid version. And hybrid means we are hosting simultaneously conferences in Ghana, Kenya, Zimbabwe. There is a sub-regional virtual event about to start now. We also have one virtual meeting in the SADC region. And beginning tomorrow, there's going to be the virtual meeting, which starts tomorrow 11 up to the 13th of November. So the theme for the Kenya event, which was between yesterday and today, is leveraging opportunities beyond COVID in the case of Kenya. And the rationale for this theme is because the Kenya extractive sector is emerging as an unprecedented opportunity for social economic transformation. There is significant deposit of oil and other natural resources. They are set for exploration, and these are at the very most opportune moment in the country as the country drives to achieving a upper middle income status by 2030. The sector's revenue sources are important now, one, because of the increasing debt burden that continue to accumulate on the country. There is also the issue of COVID. And so that explains the need for the Kenya, proper utilization of the Kenyan natural resources. We also identify the AU framework and the African mining, the AU frameworks, which are the African mining vision and the high-level panel report on illicit financial flows. Those two reports are relevant in suggesting ways of harnessing the opportunities available for Kenya. Looking from those lenses, the conference overall question then was, how can Kenya leverage this crucial framework to optimize domestic resource mobilization and leverage on the extractive sector to drive inclusive and sustainable growth? The specific questions were, what are the significant challenges? A key outcome also is that a strong coordination mechanism is required between the private sector, donor partners, bilateral institutions, public sector, and CSOs to promote effective and efficient institutions for adequate resource governance in Kenya. In order for the conference to achieve these questions that are being asked, 5 plenary sections and 1 opening and closing sections were hosted as a way forward. At these sections, participants acknowledged that there remain a significant risk that government of Kenya, if not coordinated across the extractive sector, will be faced with. it was identified that national and county governments and development partners work in sync to ensure the sector is well coordinated and reformed. However, with the conference suggested or recognizes that with well-aligned and coordinated mechanisms across the various sector of government and the private sector and civil society, there may be opportunity for improving governance within the natural resource sector. Having understood these background questions, the opening plenary section was begun, moderated by our good friend Cyprian, and the section key messages were increased political will as a sine qua non to stamping out illicit financial flows and increasing revenue domestically. Strong political will is needed, according to the conference participants, to reinforce reform and restore good governance along the value chain of the extractive sector. To do this, speakers asserted that public institutions need to engage comprehensively and maintain more inclusive participation. They also agreed on the need for regional partnership and policy coherence to maintain alliances, cohesiveness, and practical policy design and program implementation. Participants see the need for increased donor programs and extended support to increase CSOs' capacity and focus on improving those integrity institutions in reducing IFF outflows across Kenya. Participants mentioned the need for structural transformation. They mentioned the need for social inclusion in the extractive sector. Participants also recognize that TGNA as an APEC organization, CSO organization in the region, should begin the process of demystifying the concept of IFF across the African region, and most especially Kenya, to create linkages and identify the factors that are making Kenya prone to IFF outflows. Regarding the emerging treaties network in Kenya and linking double-tization agreement to those treaties, the conference observed that multinational companies use loopholes to benefit from tax treaties at the expense of Kenya. Participants also noted that there are issues within the extractive sector's fiscal regime, and these risks apply to tax policy, but just as important were institution capacity to implement the system of tax policy reform in Kenya. Talking about the capacity of institutions, our presenter yesterday mentioned the need for strengthening capacity for, in the case of financial modeling, in the case of complex tax audits, and he also mentioned the need for there was also the need mentioned for establishing a sovereign wealth fund, and this sovereign wealth fund was expected to save for the rainy day and provide some opportunity in the future for our unborn generation. Participants observed that resources value is not priced according to the resource actual value in Kenya, and therefore called for technical capacity to strengthen evaluation of natural resources in Kenya so that they can be able to attain their proper value. Participants also became worried with the fact that Kenya is not yet adopted to the ERTR framework, and the understanding is because of this delay, there is a likelihood that there will be some transparency concern, including adopting to full implementation of the beneficial ownership and disclosure. The conference participants recognize there are no legal clauses that encourage promotion of local content and local expertise. That was mentioned by Charles. According to him and according to our friend Moses, who spoke yesterday, there are issues of high license fee for local entrepreneurs who don't benefit from this sector, and there are punitive or retributive actions in case they don't meet these thresholds. So there are no incentive for local participation. Concerning the inclusion of artisanal and small-scale miners, the mining policy framework, according to the conference, marginalizes artisanal and small-scale miners and this kind of marginalization encourages legal trading activity, which also contributes to illicit financial flows. Companies in the extractive industry use the following methods, according to my friend Karud, as a way of evading taxes. They don't properly declare byproducts. They either over or under evaluate the product, including the pricing of commodities, and this complicates the structure at the international and national level for pricing their products. So a few of the key recommendations we were able to present for the purpose of this presentation is one, that a tax regime that attracts investment and optimizes revenue should be developed through establishing a modeling at the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of, not the Ministry, but the Kenya Revenue Authority, to be able to support complex negotiation and proper taxing of natural resources. Also, there is a need to design a robust policy and legal framework that is more inclusive and should be deepened to focus on productive assets where resources are found. Number three, CSO in Kenya should expand awareness raising, according to the participants yesterday, so as to increase the social contract. I'm happy we were able to come up with a suggestion for that meeting, and focus on transparency of payment of revenue. That is to say, create awareness to citizens about how government delivery services are working, and also what level of taxes are being collected. Also, Moses highlighted he was talking about the CARA, that act should be implemented fully. The CARA is the County Allocation of Revenue Act. He says that act is not fully implemented. If it is implemented, it will be able to provide clearer understanding about how resources are allocated. The conference also recommended the utilization of ICT infrastructure in enhancing transparency and accountability for good governance within the extractive sector, as a need to explore and emphasize the disclosure of beneficial ownership. The conference called for strengthening coordination and oversight of institutions such as the Parliament, the Commission on Extractive Justice, and all relevant institutions to be able to play their relevant roles in demystifying the extractive sector activity, including the private sector and civil society. The conference recommended the need to finalize on community development agreement so that communities can fully benefit from their share of royalty and resource revenue, including explaining to them on mechanism for conflict management and dispute resolution within the extractive sector. The conference also proposed the need for increased regional cooperation to enhance the benefit derived from mineral resources. It talks about harmonizing fiscal policy within a sub-region. I think that was mentioned by Dereji, I think so. And then a speaker at the conference also identified that KNDTA need to include general tax avoidance rule and tax abuse mechanism to reduce the use of this instrument for aggressive tax planning. Another recommendation was that treaty should be signed in places where there is significant economic activity in relation to, for example, Kenya. Another recommendation is that there is a need to formalize artisanal mining beyond granting mining permit, increase the sensitization and awareness of permit procedures. Moses was saying yesterday that these are major constraints within the sector. He also mentioned at that point the need to address information asymmetric among artisanal miners who are most times disadvantaged because they don't have access to the information to invest in the sector. Second to the last for this presentation, which we try to rush, is the need for capacity building of local communities and local business owners who are in the informal mining sector to be able to benefit from the value chain and the local content provisions within the value chain. According to Charles, most of the foreign companies are not very much interested in providing the level of technical capacity to local companies because it still provides, that lack of that capacity provides them opportunity to outsource and to also use other means of doing businesses. Last for this presentation, which was just mentioned, is the need for decolonization of the extractive sector. And CSO need to ensure the translation of global solution in their local country and community context. So with this said, I have summarized from 10 to 5 together with my colleague Chinai, the outcome of the PAC. And I just also like to use this opportunity to thank my colleagues whom have been very supportive through the organization of this conference, to Brian and all the team members who have done so well working overtime. Maybe we can do So I just want to say a big thanks to the team and to say thanks to all of us for making this conference a very big success. Thank you.